Good morning, everybody. Julia here. I have no heat this morning. I was hoping the heat would be back on. Anyway, let's hop into the video. People will take advantage of you as much as you let them take advantage of you. The real question is, at what point do you consider you taking advantage of yourself? I'm going to touch on one of the worst betrayals I think that I have been through in my life. And without further ado, we're gonna hop right into it. It was a beautiful summer morning. The air was still cool, and as I hopped out of bed, I grabbed my phone to see many messages, eagerly waiting my response. I called my driver, and I called my driver immediately and got him to, and asked if he was available. I got a, yep, be right there. Click, beep, beep, beep. I grabbed my towel. I picked out a matching set of undergarments, briefly spoke to my friend who expressed her discomfort. And upon finding out it was because GHB, I wish she wouldn't do that to herself, and I sincerely hope she felt better. I hopped in the shower, I got ready, and then off my driver and I went. And I think it was about noon. I was in between calls, so he asked me if I wanted to go back to his place while we were waiting because I was already feeling anxious. And well, we'll see what the actual reason for that was. We arrived at his We arrived at his house, and I sat in his futon. We were talking about, I don't even know, I think I was talking about what my next appointment was. And I remember mentioning I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom. I remember wearing a onesie. So I went to the bathroom. I got up, I pulled my pants up, and then I was walking down the hallway, and then black. Absolutely nothing. When I came to, I was naked, and he was laying beside me. I gasped, and I landed in a ball, hugging my legs across the room. He looked at me and said, "You liked it. You came, don't you remember? Don't act like you don't remember." And the only thing that could come out of my mouth, probably the most humiliating, the most degrading, was, "Did you at least wear a condom?" For someone I paid $25 to $60 to stop, to keep me safe. At this point, I feel like I took advantage of myself. He tells me to get dressed, and then he drops me back at the house. I come back, and I instantly just went for a shower. When I was done having a shower, I came and I sat on the couch in the common area. And I just sat there, just in shock. The woman that house I was renting a room from, her brother came out and asked me, he's like, "What's going on?" And I wasn't gonna say anything because I just, who wants to talk about that? It's embarrassing. I was feeling absolutely disgusted with myself. He was persistent, and thank God he was in that very moment, because when I said what happened, it was all I needed to not give up on myself, to know that someone believed me or seen more in me. Because just because I was doing what I was doing doesn't mean that I had to accept that. To process everything, this may be a little harsh, but it comes down to the fact that I shouldn't put myself in situations where I'm not conscious. Maybe I was acting like a hoe. I don't know. I don't remember. Regardless of the fact, I took the GHB. So whether I was or I wasn't, at this point, doesn't matter. I took the GHB. I didn't think I had to worry. I didn't care about my own well-being, so how could I expect anybody else to? The external impulses that got me unstuck. So this woman that I was renting a room from, like, we were friends. And then things started to shift. She started to question my intentions and become skeptical of what I was doing. And assuming that I wanted to go after her boyfriend. And in my head, I was just thinking, like, honey, I post an ad and I get more calls than you. What makes you think I want your boyfriend? Now I'm starting to see that because her lack of transparency with me, I started to twist and warp her perception. My boyfriend was the one who originally brought me there and left me there because straight up he was called out for the way he was treating me, and I should have known better to stay. I mean, he did this to me once before, and I definitely knew better. She had a boyfriend. She recently just got a boyfriend. She met somebody. I should have put two and two together. I mean, she was telling me one thing and then doing another. And this is why I say actions speak louder than words. And this is why she became suspicious of my intentions, because when you have a lack of transparency, it messes with your head. It messes with the way you're perceiving things. I wasn't trying to come between her and her relationship. As far as I knew, everything was clear between them two, and they weren't seeing each other. Like, I don't know. She kept. Regardless, I wasn't even there, nor would I even give this person the chance to date, comparing I have ethics. Girl code. You like this guy? Okay, no problem. This guy's yours. Hands off. I don't need it. I'm not cutthroat. I don't feel the need to take something that isn't mine. Like, no, but you can't have what's mine, and I don't want what's yours. Period. What kept me stuck was my overgiving, my compassion. Overlooking the slights. Not honoring the way that I show up in people's lives and thinking it's okay for them not to show up that way in mine. The little bits of wisdom that I pulled out of this experience from what I have already shared, going for in addition to what I've already shared. I don't need to prove who I am to anybody. And I can see now that some reactions may be unproportional to situations. But when you don't know who to trust, there's no need to break down the details, because it's on a need to know basis. And at that very moment, I didn't need to know. Not in regards to what my driver did to me, but in the wholeness of a different situation that followed that I can't really talk about, that I won't talk about. Man, if I could put my life into a movie, I swear. Because a lot of the things are on a need-to-know basis, and you just don't need to know. Telling a lie or the truth in a situation that's not meant for you, anyway, regardless, eventually you will be rejected. So stay true to yourself. The truth will prevail. Honor, respect, know what you stand for, what you represent. Hold true to that no matter what. In my head, I was thinking I couldn't go home. I mean, I could for a day or two just to get kicked out again. And in the end, when I left, she didn't give me any heads up. She didn't give me any warning. I literally left with a backpack, and I said, F all my stuff. She can keep it. And that's how petty she wants to be. She didn't pay me back for anything. And I let her keep all my stuff. Because you know what? At the end of the day, I had the most valuable thing. And that was my character. My integrity. But I did leave feeling ashamed, betrayed. And I felt responsible for the attack one person did, proving my way of thinking about my home to be correct. Because my boyfriend, while I was out there, went back to my place and targeted my family. You know, I could have adopted a belief never to talk about what I love openly ever again with anyone. But I didn't do that. No. In one hand, one person targeted me for all that I loved. And in the other hand, I was also shown that not everybody is like that. And I just talked about this in my last video. How God would save a whole nation for one righteous person. So just because one thing happens, don't let it shift your perception of what you believe the world to be. Don't let one bad person ruin a good thing. I learned to balance out a few energies in conjunction to those events. I had to learn to balance out being overprotective, smothering even, and overgiving, because you're going to create a monster. Change your approach before you change your perception. Change your approach before you change your perception into something that is negative and limiting to your life experience. All in all, in the process of making this video, I've observed people assume whatever you associate with is an archetype, stereotype. And I want to remind you that whatever season you're in will pass. Your character and the connection you have to what is and what always was and should be always at your top priority. Because how you feel and sit when you think about that will define what your true intentions are. As long as you know your heart was always in the right place, you will make it through. Think about it this way. When you fight yourself, when you win, you also lose. So stop fighting and just love yourself. Okay, on the next one, guys. Bye.